This scene is probably going to seem weird at first, but I'll explain it in a moment. So last night I had a dream and I had a bag of marshmallows, like I'd actually bought it or got it from a shop. And I was thinking about eating them. And that probably sounds, who cares, but I haven't eaten sugar in about 14 years. Still eat fruits and all that, but I don't eat junk food, lollies, sweets, ice cream, whatever you name. I don't touch them. So for me to have a bag of marshmallows, even in a dream, is weird. The cool thing is that my thoughts in the dream were, this might damage my teeth. I probably shouldn't have one now. I'm gonna eat some marshmallows, but not yet. I want to make sure I have a toothbrush or something so I can protect my teeth later. So even in a dream, I'm reinforcing what I actually think and what I believe. A lot of people, I think, don't have that training or don't have that mental training, or their thoughts are structured in such a way that they'll just eat whatever they feel like eating at the time and that's it. Whereas my brain is so hardwired now to say no to sugar that even in a dream, I'm saying, I better watch out for my teeth and health and so on, and I probably won't eat them. And I never actually ate one. My friends were all eating them, and I didn't. So this is how strong my training is now, and this is how reinforced my ideals and beliefs are about the topic. Even in my dreams, I won't break the rules. And there was no repercussion in the dream. It wouldn't have mattered if I ate 10, 50, or the whole bag. And yet, my brain doesn't think like that. It just says, no, I can't damage my teeth. No, I don't want to have skin issues or whatever, pimples and so on. So, why have I got a messy desk right now? Because this is what I think dreams are. Throughout the day, you are just accumulating all this stuff. Whoops. And I have mice plugged in and they deselect. I better be careful. Okay, we're good. We're still recording. Okay, so we're just accumulating all this stuff and it just gets really messy. And by the end of the day, our brains are like fried. It's too much. So when we go to sleep, what I think happens, and again, this is just an idea. I don't know if this is true. It's just how I understand it. And if you can come up with a better understanding, cool. And if you don't agree, that's also cool. But food for thought. No junk food, no sugar. This is good food for thought. We can do this little experiment here. So, not experiment, what am I saying? Logic. Back on reasoning and stuff and words, English, structured sentence, structured thought. Alright, I'm back on the game. So, if you have all this mental clutter, by the end of the day, all the things you've seen, all the things you've thought, it's just a mess. But when you go to sleep, it's like the brain is cleaning up and it's starting to structure again. It gets rid of all the garbage and puts all the proper thoughts in their place, so you wake up refreshed and you feel more clear about things. It's another reason why people tell you to sleep on something. So if you have an issue that day or you really can't make the decision, they say just sleep on it, as in go to sleep, let your brain do its thing, then tomorrow hopefully you'll be less scattered and you'll be able to just think clearly again, hopefully. So if we just start putting these things like that's not meant to be there, doesn't that look better? Isn't your brain feeling a bit clearer now? So we can see what's going on here. Before it was just a big mess. Now we see this is a lens cleaner. Blows air. I use it for keyboards too. All the mice are in place. I didn't actually structure them by color or anything. Well, this could have gone with that one. But at least you can see what's here now. It's not just a giant mess. That's the main thing. So I think sleep is so important, really because of maintenance. Making things clear and getting them right. And the way you can help that is every thought you have, everything you think, and just everything you see, just make sure you're thinking the right way about it. This is how you can retrain your behavior, your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions even. You can actually restructure who you are by constantly reinforcing certain ideals and ideas and whatever. That's how I've given up sugar to the point where even in my dreams, I'm not going to eat it. I refuse to. It's against my beliefs. It just won't happen. And even if I'm tempted to, I'll just have so much doubt in saying, but it's been so long and I gave it up for a reason that it probably won't happen. I'll keep on stalling. Always reinforce what you want. So who you want to be, What do you think perfection is? Just reinforce that constantly. It's going to be hard at first, like everything, but like with all training, it's just repetition, making sure you're repeating the same things over and over, getting it right. And eventually, even if you don't reach your goal, you will get better and better. And at some point, you probably will be able to do the things that you've wanted to do. So now let's talk about dreams. Who are we, as in, we have our entire brain, but who are we, like where are we? Because we don't really have proper access to the rest of the brain as such. It seems like we are just the mind, and the mind is like this one section of consciousness or awareness that kind of takes in all the information and things coming from everywhere else, and then uses that to run the body and whatever. So I have this little test that I've been doing for years. I just find it fun. I don't know how true this is going to be, but where are you? So for example, if I touch here, I would say that's down to my left. It's underneath me. If I touch my chest, definitely down, but more centered. So I feel like it's underneath me directly. If I touch here, that just feels in front. Up top, top side, side, and so on. So if we keep on doing that test and just saying where the positioning is, then if I had to say where the direct side is to me, I would say it's right here. That feels directly to the side. Now where's the front? I just hit the mic. I'm sorry. Okay, so the front is like that feels above me. I think that's directly in front of me. So if you draw a line straight through the side there and straight through there, and then if I go directly on top, straight down there, that's my awareness. Because that's where I feel the direction. So is that where the mind is? And that's where everything is coming to? All this information, so all the senses, all the things that I feel and see and so on, all the information is getting directed there, and then I make the decision based on that? Maybe, I don't know, these are just ideas. But if that's where I am, and I am just this part of the brain that's kind of taking in all this information, what if sleep is basically not getting rid of. It's more, so if the mind is usually this big, what if sleep is just condensing all that, let's stop it, blocking a lot of the senses. So you don't get as much vision. Should have this higher, sorry. And you get smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where it's this big. And then your mind is sort of jumping around in this little section of the brain with the limited information that it gets from the brain or the subconscious or whatever it is. So when it comes to sleeping, when we're this little ball in our heads, or this even smaller ball, I should say, what if our dreams are just, we still have these little prongs? So what if we had like the fingers sort of reaching out still, and they're grabbing onto other sections of the brain? So you get those little bits of information. So sugar, and then it accesses a part of the sugar. Jumping, it accesses our memories of jumping just a little bit. But it's like reaching for a prison, I guess. So if you imagine prison cell like that, and you're like trying to reach and you can't really reach the thing, but you can get a little bit of it. I think that's how our brains or our minds work when we're asleep. We're kind of just reaching out to the brain and grabbing certain little bits, but we can't get the whole thing. And that's why we have such weirdly fragmented dreams where they kind of make sense, but when we wake up, they're like, that didn't make sense. Like, how? What? That's not how things work. But because we just got that little bit, it was enough to create the dream or the fantasy. Now, on the note of the fantasy, it's obviously made up, because a lot of our dreams, we kind of recognize things, but they're not familiar places a lot of the time. They are just imaginary. They're made up. So maybe the mind is just filling in the gaps. Like, it can only get a bit of reality, and then it just fills in the gaps after that. So the importance of knowing this is, what if we have to structure our thoughts every day and make sure we're paying attention to the right things, or we're going to have really bad dreams and our thoughts are going to be in a bad place and so on. So I always think, I don't want to watch horror movies. It's not because I can't stomach it or whatever. It's just because I have a very active imagination. I write novels. If I watch a horror movie, I am thinking about that for days and days and days, and it will influence my dreams and sleep and how I feel each day and my thinking. I just keep on repeating it in my mind. That's what I do. And I will actually watch comedies for that reason. Most of the things I watch are just comedies because it's fun. It's a relaxation thing, it's stress reliever. And I'm making sure I fill my brain or my life with things that are going to be more positive. The negative's always going to be there. You cannot escape the negative, but you can minimalize it. If you can get it down to a minimum, and definitely not destroying yourself, you're going to be in a much better place just in general life, because you're going to be able to focus more on the positive, and you're not going to have so many things on top of the negative things that are just going to happen anyway, bringing you down. So this is the importance of structuring your thoughts and your brain every moment you're awake, conscious, and whatever, because it's going to have these effects later on in sleep and your future and the way you believe life is and what you think about yourself and so on. Every moment is important. There was a saying that I remember from years ago. Every act is an act of self-definition. If you keep that in mind, just saying that everything I do is going to define myself in some way, you start to take a little more care in what you're actually defining yourself as. So if you're just being lazy, you think, I can't be bothered, I'm just going to be lazy, it's fine. But it's not fine, because that's defining yourself for much more in the future. You actually have to get that motivation and determination and that integrity to maintain that person you want to be. You can't be lazy about that, because it will destroy you in other ways later or keep you down. It's not just this one-off thing. Just like when you're eating sugar, it's not just, I'm just going to have this 1 Mars bar or chocolate or whatever, it'll be fine, it'll taste good and then I'll forget about it. No, because you got consequences. That sugar is going to feed the bacteria. This is how apparently it works. And that's going to create the acid and it's going to break down your teeth. And the more you do that, the more you're going to have holes and problems. I think my phone's about to... Hang on a sec. Note to self and everyone, make sure your phone is off before you're doing a video live. So the more problems you're going to have with your teeth, hopefully this is not so disjointed when I edit this, but it's going to create a lot of problems in the future. So it's not just a one-off thing that you can forget about. Your past is going to stay with you. You need to make the right decisions and keep yourself on the game. I know it's hard. It's against our... What do you even call this? Our laziness is driving us constantly to stop us doing anything. But we have to overcome that and beat that and alter our way of thinking. And this again goes back to your brain structure. If you allow yourself to be lazy, that becomes part of you. That's your brain training. If you say, no, I got to do stuff and actually fight the laziness, then you can overcome it and actually stop being so lazy. And this is where the importance of habits comes into it. You need that routine where you're actually doing exercise and eating the right foods at the right time every day. I know it's very robotic, or it feels robotic, and you want to break free of that and be free. But when it comes down to it, you're going to be more free with the routine, because you're going to be making use of your time a lot better. It's an illusion thinking, oh, I just want to be relaxed and lazy and do nothing. No, you don't. That's going to waste a lot of time and make you feel more stressed, because you're going to have all this stuff that you know you need to do but haven't done, and it's just going to build up and up and up, and then you're going to just collapse because it's like, it's too much. You got too much work now. Getting the work done early, and I am definitely guilty of this. I always left assignments to the last minute. I didn't really like school that much. I didn't see the point, so I was like, I'll do it later. But I did an experiment even back then, and when I got the assignments done early, I always felt way better, like I had way more time, had a lot less stress. So building that mindset where you can actually just get things done, as in now, means you're going to have the freedom and actually enjoy your time more, because you won't have that stress of, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. You're like, no, it's done. I now have all my week free. So your time is extremely important. The way you're using it is super important. And the laziness is actually one of your worst enemies. Procrastination and whatever. And I know it's hard to just get your mind in the game and focused and doing the right thing, but you have to learn how to do that. And as I was saying, it's repetition. Every thought you have, you need to retrain and say, no, I need to get it done. I need to ignore the feelings of holding me back. I need to stop everything that's blocking me and block it, and then actually get it done and do the right thing by you and your future. And I mean, you don't have to believe me on this. And maybe it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, I still can't be bothered. But switch off your thoughts. You can do this, trust me. Just switch them off and do what you know you need to do. Just write down a list and then just do the list. Ignore all the, I can't be bothered moments and feelings, just do it. See how you feel after that. And if it works, do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. And build that routine that way. Again, it's repetition. Just keep on doing the same thing over and over. Eventually it becomes habit. Eventually it just becomes part of you. I'm someone who goes to the beach and exercises, plays basketball. Well, I used to play basketball, haven't lately. But it's just something that I love doing, and I've been lifting weights lately. I always hated weights. I looked at weights as something that's like, why would you just pick something up to put it back down? It's boring. I want to go play sport because it's fun. But then I found fun in the lifting weights, and I started to pay more attention to the muscles and how they felt. And now I learn, it's like, well, how do I get to that muscle? And how do I get to that one? How do I build this up? And I guess that's what bodybuilders experience. Or I almost said bodybuilders because I bodyboard. Anyway, doesn't matter. I guess that's what they experience, so that's why they become addicted and really interested, because now it's actually something, it's a constant learning experience. And the more we experience and the more positive emotions we attach to it, the more we want to do it. So to conclude this video, our minds appear to be that one little spot in there, which gets held and captured and trapped into this little ball while we're sleeping, and we only get fragments of our day and our thoughts, and then we fill in everything else with the imagination. And they will reflect our daily lives and what we were thinking and who we are and so on. So it's extremely important, even for that regard, in that regard, that we do train our brains to think properly and we become the best we can be. And then training our beliefs and avoiding the laziness, we want to write down lists and just do things until they become habit. Apparently it's 2 to 3 weeks before something becomes habit. So you don't have to do this for long. You just have to use your willpower just to push through that bit of laziness or that thing holding you back. And then after a while, it just becomes part of who you are. It's your nature. And it's repetition. Just keep on repeating these things. You'll be fine. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting because I did have that dream where I was about to eat the marshmallows and I still didn't. And I'm just like, wow, my brain is so well trained. Or I'm so well trained now that I just refuse to do it. I've actually changed my beliefs to the point, even in my dreams, I won't do something. So it matters a lot and it can be done. And that's why I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything in life, even though it's like, oh yeah, sugar, good taste and high energy for a little while and all that. I've got so many negative beliefs about sugar now. They're like defense mechanisms, they're walls. I just will not touch it. And I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything because in my mind, sugar is horrible. I look at cakes and like, that's disgusting. It's loaded with stuff that's going to make my life worse. I don't want to touch that. So I've retrained my beliefs just through repetition of these thoughts. And you should be able to do the same. So I hope that helps. Use your links in the description if you want to help support. This is the outro from the other channel. I shouldn't be doing it here. But the other stuff is good. So subscribe, like and share this video. And I'll catch you in the next. That's an okay outro. Yeah, we'll go with that one. I like it.